or anything else for that matter. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey Sears. I'm here tonight as president of the Emeryville TMA that you just mentioned, and we are sorry to see Alice go. I'm here with a recommendation and a question, but first, although I think all of you know it, I want to take 1 minute and remind everyone what a tremendous success the Emery Go-Round is for people who live and work here. It's an envious example of a successful public-private partnership. It's infinitely more efficient than most public transit agencies in terms of moving people per mile per dollar. It's responsible for having removed thousands of cars off the road every day. The system and its structure has been very evolutionary, responding to
you got 3 minutes, so you might want to edit.
All
what
right.
You
well, so you
say.
know that it's great. You also know that there's a possibility of the PBID that provides a majority of its funding to be extended for 15 years. And a majority of the board appears supportive of that. But a majority of us also have two real concerns about what's been proposed, and those are a lack of addressing governance in the plan and the stated amount of increases, and I'll elaborate a little bit. First, we're concerned that either or both of these will lead people to vote no that might not otherwise vote no, because the majority of the board appears very supportive of it. They get to vote themselves. I don't control them, but this is the nature of our discussions at the board. So first, governance. We'd been told that there would be a revised governance plan proposed in the plan, and when it was published, we didn't see anything. Then we were told that there would be some work done by the task force and the council tonight on that, but we understand that isn't going to happen. Rather than just be frustrated, that is a little frustrating, but rather than just be frustrated, the board has decided to be proactive, and I'm here to walk you through quickly what we think would be a revised governance structure responsive to the things that the plans say need to occur. Basically, it needs to be fair and reasonable, and we think an alternative structure does that. And specifically, we heard three major things. The residential population will be larger, paying more into the system. They need more representation. The community of smaller businesses have been loud in saying they want a larger voice. And then a subset of people have said the Chamber of Commerce that sat on the board doesn't pay, so why should they be at the board table? And each of those have different levels of weight, but the board believes all matter. And so our recommendation is taking the existing board structure, adding a second residential seat so that there are two, which is roughly equal to the amount they'll pay in under the new structure. And we also recommend that we think the city council is best to appoint those two, because we're not good at running elections, and that's probably better for you. We're recommending that the chamber relinquish its seat for the reasons I stated, that other people have asked for that. And we're looking to add a second seat for smaller businesses. So we think, again, I only have 3 minutes, but we think this would be a much more balanced board. Now, I think even people who aren't fans of the Emery Go-Round and the PBID.
That's it. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
but I want to ask for clarification about the increase issue that you had talked about as well.
Yeah, so our concern is that the plan that was published in great detail, great length, says that annual increases can be anywhere up to 5%, and that the board recommends that, as they've always done in the past. And then the council would have to ratify our recommendation. And I just want to point out, over the almost 15 years of the Emeryville operating, the board's recommended all the way from 0 to 5, and on average, those increases, if you average them over the life, have been less than 3%. So we read the plan as saying that flexibility still continues. Board recommends, council reviews, can ratify or not. The ballots seem to suggest it's 5% fixed.
Okay.
So that discrepancy is a concern, again, that we think may cause people to want to vote against who might otherwise vote for.
Thank you, Jeff. Michael, would you care to clarify that latter point?
Sure.
since the ballots are out there?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So, yes, while the ballot does say that annual increases will be 5%, I will point out that the management plan, as well as the staff report, the staff and all the multiple staff presentations on the PBID have indicated that it is an up to 5% amount. The language in the ballot that says 5%, while regrettable, is a mistake. But I think that if a observer were to look at the totality of all of the information that the city has pushed out and published regarding the increase in assessment, you will see that the city has consistently posited out there that it would be an up to 5% increase, and that certainly is the intent of the council.
Thank you. All right. I see more public comment here.
Yes, I'm Betsy Cooley, resident, and essentially the same thing that Jeff said. I've attended almost all of the Emery Ground board meetings for quite a few years. And because I attend the meetings, a lot of people ask me questions about the thing, and I'm surprisingly, a number of people who are strong supporters of the Emery Ground have said that they will vote against it because of the lack of governance and because of the 5%. And I have told them that the backup materials and the management plan and everything says that, and some very intelligent people have said, I don't care what the backup materials say, the ballot says 5%, and somewhere down the line when you're not here, and they pull out the thing, somebody who wants to have 5% every year, that they'll look at the ballot. And so that's an issue. The other thing is the structure of the board. I think that Jeff's suggestion is a really good one. The 7 top payers, 2 residents, and 2 small businesses. And I think that sort of is a fair representation of the amount of money that's being paid in. And but because that isn't in the measure anywhere, people would like to have some idea of where you stand on that, if that is something that you think is reasonable or if you're looking for something different. Well, anyway, it's a great system, and I hope it passes, but that is a concern to quite a few people.
Right.
So.
My name is André Carpio, and I have a few comments to do about the buses. First, I think that the last half of the bus should be equipped with pedals. So if people want to propel the bus, they could go in the back and pedal to make the bus move. That's one thing. The second thing is that there is a large area on the roof which can support solar cell. And solar cell by each square meter can give as much as 150 watts. And if you multiply in a equation of power, then we can save half the fuel between one point to another. So that's not always what I have to say, but also a question of a tax there. I want to be sure that the senior, like Councilman Nora Davis, doesn't be exempt to pay me too. Thank you.
Any other? Yeah. Hi, Ken.
Ten Bukowski with the Emeryville Property Owners Association. We presented an alternative proposal that we think is fair. Having 5 seats assigned to corporate members is not fair. If you're not elected, you don't know who you serve, and these folks have never shown that they serve anybody but themselves. The proposal would allow 3 of the existing corporate members to retain their seats for an additional year. So a new board would have 3 of the existing corporate members, and Francis, who has another year on his term, and 3 new members would be elected, 2 residential and 1 for the business. I don't see why the city council would appoint the residential representative. Why wouldn't those people have the chance to elect who they want? I mean, they have elections now with the Emery Ground, so it's not an unusual process. It's not something that they shouldn't do. So a 7-member board is reasonable. You don't have a lot of complicated issues that are being discussed. You know, do you want to buy a new bus? Do you want to pay the attorney this much money? You know, the vendors. There's just not a lot of complicated issues that you need a huge board for. But really, so I think the issue is having a corporate board doesn't make any sense. Having a public member has never made any sense. Now, the existing assessments aren't fair. They're not commensurate with the amount that's paid, and there's never any adjustment. Those issues are raised, and nobody ever does anything about it. So then there's the question of whether this is a public service or a private service. I don't think it's a private service. I think if it had to go to a court would determine it's public. And if it's public, a P-bid can't be allowed. But if we could reach a compromise on this, then we wouldn't have to go through that. We could just have a fair board and move forward, as we should. The Emery Ground's a great service, and no one's trying to eliminate it. We're trying to perpetuate it. Then the other thing is the sales tax money. We've never gotten any money from the sales tax for the Emery Ground. Now we're contributing $7 million a year. I think at least $2 million of that should come back to our most important transportation need. So whatever the requirements are to accomplish that money, that's what we should be doing, because that's a lot of money. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay. Oh.